You know what hasn't gotten me down? The apparent realization I have that we don't have free will and we are just meat machine automatons that are thinking and behaving according to our biological structure and inputs from the rest of the environment. Why is that weird? Because it should, you know. Um, it, it seems like it should. And when it first started happening, I was excited about a realization that was something I thought I would never come to believe. But um, I, I definitely felt bad sometimes thinking about it. I feel bad sometimes thinking about it now, but not any more than I thought about the alternative, um, the idea of free will. There was plenty of reason to not feel good about free will, about the idea that I am my own person that makes my own decisions, that I am, like that I am like immune from influence from others if I have a strong will, and I am susceptible to the influence of others if I have a weak will. Um, that was still a lot of pressure, you know. Um, it also came with the baggage of blame and that sort of thing. And remarkably, after I got used to the idea that I don't have free will and that blame isn't really a fact. You can't blame someone for what they do at all. You just can't. Not really. Not like and truly believe it. It's not factual that they are at fault. Um, so I get it. I get it. People like that means that, oh no, I'm an automaton. So I'm just like an auto driving car. And the fact is, you're not really exactly like an auto driving car, because an auto driving car doesn't feel anything and doesn't have this impression that it's got free will and doesn't yearn for a better world or a better life and all that stuff. We do all that stuff. So there's another component too that I'll probably remember to talk about in a second, but not believing it, not believing in free will, and believing that I am just a cog in the big machine of life, of the universe, and everything, doesn't take away the utility of certain concepts. So, why do we blame people? Well, first, we believe they did it on purpose because people do things on purpose, supposedly. But when you start not believing that they do it on purpose, you start to say, what is the utility of something like blame? Well, blame starts to turn into something that basically says, this guy did this thing, and that doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us because this, that, and the other thing. So, for example, this guy slapped some random stranger at a Walmart. That doesn't work for us because we don't want people walking around doing that. And so, what we start to be compelled to do is say, what works to decrease or eliminate that kind of behavior in people? We don't have to go through the whole, oh, we're dealing with a bad person here. It doesn't matter if a person's bad or good. That's not even a useful or, what's the word? Helpful or valid concept or construct, as we like to say. It means that you are going to try to do what works to change somebody's behavior. It's a lot more like treating a problem than trying to turn the person into the problem, and it gives you permission to do them harm, which is what punishment is in, say, criminal justice. And in lay people's terms, that's what punishment is. Do something that they won't like, right? But that's not how it works. It doesn't have to be an aversive stimulus. Anything you do to a person that changes their behavior in a way that makes their behavior work better for you or for society or for a select group of people, that's what you do. Blame is a waste of your freaking mind space and your time. So being an automaton doesn't change the fact that we can feel deeply, that we can dream big and wide. It doesn't change any of that. I, I think that this is the advantage. I had someone ask me on Facebook the other day what the advantage was. This is the advantage. Um, oh, and then the next thing is, because blame starts to overlay a label on a human being, which doesn't seem to have real support, now that I've explained it to you, you know that what I've said means that it doesn't have support to blame or call somebody good or bad. You can label people if it's effective in, like, shuttling them toward a particular service or whatever, like we do with mental health disorders. So yeah, you can label people bad or good, and if it has some kind of utility, if it's going to allow you to, like I said, shunt them in the right direction, or find the appropriate change in behavior that you need to see in them. So that would wind up being a matter of degree too, if you're actually going to designate people as bad or good, because there's no, like, box here where, like, there's somebody naturally bad and a box over here that somebody's naturally good. Now, if somebody's eaten 30 school children in their school after shooting all the teachers, I would say that that person has more than crossed the line, but you got to figure out where you draw your lines. Everything is a matter of degrees, up and down, or side to side, whatever, like a rainbow, or, going from white to gray to black. Either way, make the ambulance disappear. How do do do. And so when you demarcate things incrementally, then you can find certain cutoff places. So you go from 0 to 100. 0 is a super good person, and the extreme good, and 100 is extreme bad. Sure, you could do that, and then you could cut it off at 33% or some evidence-based number. So yeah, I get all that is still involved. That's how we clarify things. That's how we make distinctions where they're really not there, because the distinctions can help us. It's really all a continuum, a spectrum, a rainbow. But that's just called quantifying and creating cutoff scores. All of those things are, created by us, through us, because we have these tendencies to do it. Now, without starting to be able to be open to the idea that we do not have free will, some of these thoughts will be harder to have. And a lot of emotional reactions will remain. If you have trouble believing or if you have trouble disbelieving in the idea of free will, I think you're going to have more emotional pollution going through you, a lot of emotional smoke, fogging up your lens, a lot more emotional confusion. I love emotion. I love emotion. Get used to emotion. Tolerate all emotions. Breathe into them. Treat them like a storm. You can experience them, and you have to wait until they resolve themselves. And you have to not try to push them away because that'll just cause more complication. But one of the things that I think, makes my emotional life clearer, and more efficacious, and turns my thoughts, emotions, and behaviors into a team, is the fact that I don't have to worry about, do I muscle myself using strength of will when will does not exist? That's another thing. So your weapon is your free will. You're shooting blanks. They're not even blanks. There's nothing in the chamber. Yeah, there is. There might be blanks in the chamber because there's a lot of smoke, like I said. So the advantage of recognizing that just does not seem that there is or can be such a thing as free will anywhere in reality, in the universe, um, gets rid of a whole bunch of your baggage. It like takes a bunch of variables out of all the equations you're going to make about life, um, and it leaves the rest of them in. And you're going to feel like you're making decisions. That's one of the things. You're probably never going to get rid of the sensation that you have free will, that a thought and an urge and a decision originated in you. It didn't. But yeah, the feeling that you generated a decision spontaneously within you alone, like you are this quarantined little chamber where no one else's thoughts or the temperature or anything in the environment are the material from which you're making the decisions. Let me tell you, that's the material from which you're making the decisions. You are basically the environment, really. There's no like demarcation where the environment stops and you begin. You are a permeable, any membrane that you imagine is between you and the environment is permeable. You're just a feature of what we call the environment. That's it. You're just a feature of what we call the environment. So, also, I think humility. It's given me tremendous humility, and that's what makes me better than you. Bye bye.